to the top of the world, but the North Star is already flown. I hear rumors of a place where the soul is born. And watch all the bright lights shimmer, try to see something where there is none. And I really believe that I could touch the sun. Who's inside my mind? Who's inside my mind? Everything is alright, but I keep seeing ghosts in the daylight. Who's inside my mind? Who's inside my mind? Everything is alright, but I keep seeing ghosts in the daylight. Turn the lights down low and watch all the vampires in silhouette. I run for the hills and try to keep my head. There's still a chance we can make it if we hold on hope. It's what I'm saying, but the words don't come out right. Who's inside my mind? Who's inside my mind?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Wednesday night Paracrew podcast. Hopefully you guys survived the weekend. Everybody's doing all right. Before we begin tonight's show, as you saw, tonight we have the one and only Charles coming back. He's got a lot to talk about, and we've got a little surprise for everybody tonight with the show. But before we begin, I want to make a couple of quick announcements. First of all, there were two, if you watch the Paracrew podcast on Monday, there were two foundations and fundraisers that I would like everyone to help support. They are in the description. They go out to two of our Paralinks family members and people they know. So if everybody could just hop down in the description and help out if you can. One of the other announcements I have is we are doing some rebranding, and we are expanding some different things here on the Paracrew. One of them being a video, which I will show. I showed you a little teaser a little bit, but I'm going to show you another one that I created. But I also wanted to say that the Paracrew is rebranding as far as the consultants are concerned. And what I mean is Mackenzie and I, obviously I am the paranormal consultant. My wife is the Wicca consultant. I have been doing a lot of thinking about this, and I've already spoken to one of them. I haven't spoken to the other one. The other one's in the room right now. She has not heard this yet, and it's, of course, Squeakers. Squeakers, you're in trouble, because I am actually going to be bringing Lurker and Squeakers on as consultants. You heard me right. It is not just going to be paranormal consultant. It is going to be the consultants. And we are going to be doing a couple of different things. I will be the paranormal consultant. That is not going to change. Mackenzie, my wife, is going to be the Wicca consultant. That's not going to change. We are going to be adding Lurker as the unorthodox consultant and Squeakers as the metaphysical consultant coming January 1st. You heard it right. So Squeakers and Lurker are official consultants for Paranormal Consultant, and we are going to be rebranding as consultants. So that is happening January 1st, 2023, and I am super excited to start this endeavor with them. The other one is going to be starting actually in November. You saw probably, hopefully, on the Paraprop podcast about Parabid Studios. Well, that is another thing that we are starting, and that will be starting November 1st. So here's a little trailer of what is to come. That's right. I am starting a new endeavor, and I will be reaching out and starting my own little business, if you will, helping different people, different podcasts with these videos that everybody seems to love. They like doing. I know a lot of people aren't tech savvy, but I'm offering my services to help anybody with any intros, outros, and any personalized commercials that you would like. And it's not going to be like $200, $300, $400. No, 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 no. I'm not that good. Eventually, maybe we'll get to that point, but I highly doubt it. But all the proceeds will be going right back into the community, whether it's going to be for the StreamYard, whether it's going to be for different types of video software, but it's going to go right back. So if you think about it, it's investing in our community. Well, just like it is with the Buy Me a Coffee, which that link is in the description as well. So we've got a whole bunch of different things set up for 2023 to make it a fantastic year. And I am super excited. And I think I broke Squeakers because she hasn't said anything yet. So, yeah. So our metaphysical consultant's broken already. So let's do this. I usually start off with the comments, saying hi to everybody. But let's do this. Let's start with not our guest tonight, but our host. I'm turning the reins and the spotlight over to the one and only Charles. Brother, how are you this evening?
I am good. I'm good. I'm coming to you from the Pacific Northwest, where we have gone through a few weeks of not being able to breathe outside because of all the fires. But luckily, the last 3 or 4 days, we actually have moderate air, which is better than very unhealthy and hazardous.
Yeah, I know.
It was bad.
Squeakers was telling us a little bit about it. So, I mean, I'm just glad you're all right. I'm assuming family's all right. Everyone you know is okay, and that's the important thing.
Yes. We had some scary moments about a week ago, maybe a week and a half, where many of the people I know personally, including some family, the fire was heading their direction, and had it gone that direction, hundreds of homes would have burned. But literally less than a mile from hitting the homes, the wind shifted, and they were able to get it under control, because we were all talking to each other about, all right, how many people can you take in your home? How many people can you, trying to coordinate how we could get all the people out of it, because they were getting ready to evacuate. So we were like, who can take how many people? So luckily that didn't happen, and the fires are more under control, but scary time on planet Earth sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. I remember I was in San Diego when I think it was like 2006, 2007 when they had the big San Diego fire, this last one. I was stationed in Coronado, and it looked like it was snowing. It was that bad, and I actually thought it was snow. Being from Pennsylvania, I thought, oh crap, this is snow. No, it was ash, and I was like, ugh. Yeah, it's very scary, guys. If you haven't lived through it, it's very daunting, I will say. Um, well, Charles, brother, before I turn the spotlight and the reins of the show over to you, let's say hello to our awesome audience, and hopefully we're not 45 minutes of just talking to the to the
Right.
comments. No,
Absolutely. Let's say hi to everybody.
I'm joking, guys. I love when you guys comment. So Christina's in the room again. Hello, Christina. Welcome, welcome, welcome back. And of course, the wonderful Liz. Hi, Liz. Hopefully everybody's doing well over there. And Mr. Fedora. What's up, my brother? How are you doing? I'll see you soon. I know he said he was coming to Para Unity Day, and that's Monday. I'm super excited for that. There she is. There's Squeakers. And let's say hi to everybody. Nerd Witch. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back. Welcome back. Stephen Woodard, the mastermind, well, one of the masterminds behind Paralinks Network. Love these guys. Absolutely love them. And what consultant am I? I think I need to save that one for one of your shows or one of Howard's shows. I'm joking. So just to give you a little clarity here, Charles. Hey, Courtney. Over at Paralinks, they're a little more adult oriented, like adult themed. You can cuss, you can talk about pretty much anything you want on majority of their shows. So yeah, we're gonna keep this PG tonight. David Hope, the newest P3 family member. What's up, brother? How are you doing? Courtney Peterson, love this lady. Absolutely love her. Supports and shares everybody out, just like our very own Liz. And of course, our boy Raymond, which I thought I saw him here somewhere. And good, we didn't break her. Our newest consultant. I love it. I love it. Janice, welcome, welcome, welcome. And yeah, I saw that. I don't know what this thing is doing. Has anyone bought you a coffee yet? No one's bought us a coffee yet. Sadness. Sanctum, that's our boy Brian James. He's up your way. He is up your way. He is actually in the Spokane area as well.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I think I know. Yes. I think we've worked together too.
He used to be with Spokane Ghost Crew.
Yes.
Yep,
They did a
Brian
show with me
James.
back in 2015. Yeah, 2016.
Yep, and he actually just had surgery today. Him and I are dental brothers. He had all of his teeth removed too, and
mine's coming.
He had, I think he said 18. So
Wow.
prayers for quick healing for you, brother. Anthony from the Texas Wraith Hunters, welcome, welcome, welcome. Some tips. Awesome. Hey, let me know. That's what I'm here for, brother. That's what I'm here. Facebook. Oh, Val. Hey, Val. Welcome, welcome. See, this is what I mean. 45 minutes.
That's all right.
Tanner from Ghost Hunter Device. Charles, I think you would get a kick out of this one. Tanner does an amazing job. He has a couple different things going on. He's got Ghost Hunter Device, which is he records some of his shows. And then he just started a brand new one, Ghost Hunter Device Live, where it's just like this, but people can come on from the audience and ask questions, get advice, and stuff like that from ghost hunting aspect. Really, really, really good individual to network with. David Hale, what's up, my brother? How you doing? Don't worry, I think it's everybody. Sean Ellis from Enlightened Souls Paranormal, what's up, brother? You guys are freaking on it, and I love it. Absolutely love it. So all right, guys. So for tonight, like I said, we are going to be turning the reins over to the one and only Charles, because honestly, I was doing some thinking about this, and Charles agrees with me. We've noticed that there's a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of stress, a lot of people are going through a lot of challenges tonight, and we here at the Para Crew do our takeover shows with Minnesota Spirit Hunters. I know I've taken over Fedora's show once or twice. I've taken over a couple different shows. I know he's taken over Lurkers. WTF is that a few times, but tonight Charles is going to be taking over the Para Crew podcast, and honestly, it's an honor. So with that being said, Charles, it's all yours, brother.
Well, thank you. And thank you for having me on. And like we talked earlier a little bit today about, you wanted to share a little bit about, you called the show, Let's Restart, I think, doing a restart.
Let's recenter.
recenter.
recenter. Yes.
And certainly that's a drive of what I try to do with my show and my works with people, is try to help them to recenter, to refocus, to have those moments of peace, relaxation, being able to sometimes and we talked about tonight about maybe talking a little bit about how to overcome some of the challenges, struggles, and judgments that can happen in our lives
Yes.
that get in the way of us bringing our inspirations to life or being
100%.
all of who we are.
Yeah.
And before we get back with totally into it, I want to say too, I didn't realize that. I think you said your wife is a Wiccan expert.
Yes, she is actually a Wicca consultant.
Wiccan consultant.
She actually is Wiccan. She's been Wiccan for as long as I've known her, and for many, many years prior. She, as she says, she's gotten a little rusty because she had to kind of, tend to get time out. But she's starting to get back into it, and she is very knowledgeable. She knows a lot more about the Wicca side than what I do. And so when we first started the paranormal consultant, I was like, you know what? I was like, paranormal consultants, yeah, that has a nice ring to it. I said, but people might get confused. I said, why not you be a Wicca consultant? I said, you know a lot more than I do about it. Excuse me. And she goes, yeah, I can do that. So she's held the title Wicca consultant for about almost 2 years now. That as long as I've been a paranormal consultant.
I'll have to reach out another time. I'd love to have her on my show sometime talking about that too. We try to talk about a lot of different ways of being spiritual, from pagan to Wiccan to Christian, Buddhist, Druid, and I grew up with some Wiccan influence in my life, and I definitely have held pieces of that, but I'd love to get sometime, but
oh yeah, absolutely.
Talk about that too. And
absolutely.
And a shout out to Brian too. He was on our show, I think, a couple times with Spokane Ghost Crew. And interesting there is that in all of the shows I did, when the very first time we had them on and they were talking about some investigations that they've been doing, all of a sudden everything went crazy in my studio. I mean, all the things started messing up, and we ended up, I think we ended up having to end the show early because of it. And I told him, he was like, I've done 150 some shows now. That is the only one that any of those glitches happened. And it was one after another. And I was like, and he was like, I'm like, something is happening here, and it's not normal. It does not normally happen. These things aren't I even checked with Blog Talk, who's my, the host of and they're like, no, we don't know. I said, I was having this. They're like, we have no explanation. I'm like, very interesting. So
it's funny you mentioned that, Charles, because I know Steven's in the room. I'm not sure if Brian Laverty is here, but I know Squeakers is still around. But it's funny because we always have technical problems. Always. Like, for example, I know earlier Fedora said that my camera was picking up my audio, not my microphone. And I was like, no, because it shouldn't be like that. Well, it was. I had to look. There's been times where we've tried to play videos and some of the videos won't play. I know I was speaking with Brian Laverty, Brian John, about, I forget what it was. It was, I think it's about a global ghost hunt. And we were just talking about it. And all of a sudden his microphone, which is a clamp style, boom arm, like what I have, it just fell. Never had that happen to him before. And it's always something when we start talking about the paranormal, that something paranormal happens, which is why I said to people, you never know. Paranormal can happen at any given time. You never know. And that's what I love about this field.
Well, and part of what we wanted to talk about tonight too is when you're having those, when you're in this field, or you're in the field of mind, body, spirit, you've experienced some things that other people haven't. that in itself can become a stress. That in
Yes.
itself can become a challenge, because you try to tell people about what you saw or what you experienced, and you have some people that, if they haven't experienced it, they just don't have any wherewithal, or sometimes the judgment comes in where they're like, well, I don't, did you really, or they challenge your beliefs, and if you've experienced something, you've experienced it.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't matter what anybody else says. You might get quiet, because if someone's gonna belittle you or make fun of you or challenge you to a point that it's uncomfortable, then you're gonna get quiet about it. But you're also gonna know that you experienced what you experienced. And I think what's so important about shows like this, and shows that encourage that conversation, is that people can know that and many times when people come see me, they'll say, Charles, you're the only one I can talk to about this. And
I love when people tell me that. I'm like, wow, you're right, but you're wrong.
right, there's a bigger community, but doing the things you're doing with the parental partnerships, the unity days, the things that are happening, that allows people to come together and be with people, whether it's here in the chat room or in person at events, where they can share and where they can also learn. Because that's the other thing, and you were talking about, I forget who earlier, that has a show where people can call up and ask questions about the ghost and
Ghost hunter advice with our boy Tanner Rutledge.
Because a lot of people, if you're not making this a part of your life, then, or you're brand new to it, you need some of that advice sometimes about, what am I going to do? These things are happening. I can't seem to make them stop, and like Dave just said, that you're not alone. There's a lot of other people, and it's growing, and the modern technology is allowing a lot of us the opportunity to reach out and be there for each other, to have a place where we can go, where we can share things that might be harder to share in other ways.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny, because I've always said this. You talk about personal experiences. Like, for example, my wife and I had a personal experience this past weekend. For those who don't know, we were down in Virginia Beach for my brother-in-law's bachelor party. On the way back, we actually... Oh, and I thought you were talking about another one, Stephen. He is hosting an event himself. Fear Fest Paracon 2023 down in New Orleans. And I'm saying it that way because, but it's a wonderful, wonderful event. But we're actually working on something which I'll speak about actually at our commercial break. But I got some big plans, and I promised everybody to make the announcement next week. But things started rolling, and I think I'm ready to say something now to kind of get the everything started. But we stopped at a Sheetz, a gas station, just to get out, stretch, use the restroom. And this was in none other than Gettysburg. We're just outside of the actual downtown Gettysburg, where the battlefield is. It was only like 2-3 miles away. And we got out, we stretched, went into the gas station, did what we had to do, came back out. And as we were getting to the car, I was standing there, and I just kind of did one of those hands on your hips, lean back and stretch type deals. And I just happened to look across the highway, and I saw what I could only describe as a Confederate soldier standing in the bushes. Like, there was a little opening in the tree line, and I saw him standing there. Well, Mackenzie was standing next to me. I tapped her, and I pointed, and she turned around, and she saw him standing there. My other brother-in-law that was with me, he didn't see him, but we did. We both saw him. Now, what was funny with this is we tried to take a picture because, like we say, validation is key. You have to validate these things.
Yeah.
And took a picture, and right where he was standing was blurry. You cannot see him. You can't see him. Everything else surrounding the picture is perfectly fine, but where he's at is blurred. Don't know why. And I used my iPhone for it. But yeah, it's when you have a personal experience, it is a great story. They're great stories, but it can only become evidence when you have validation. And that's the biggest problem with this field. And I know a lot of people here in the audience will attest to this. you can capture the Holy Grail, as we call it, a full-bodied apparition, a full-on spirit. Casper himself can come up,
Right.
sit down, and have a conversation with you. There's still going to be those people out there that'll say, no, it's CGI. No, it's this. No, it's that. You will always have that. And it's been happening recently, too, because I know a lot of people have been getting some really good evidence, but they're getting put down by those naysayers,
Right.
which I know, like we discussed, this is why I'm so glad that it always happens every time, right around the time when you're ready to come up and hang out with us, Charles, that a lot of these issues come to the surface, and it's almost like a revamp and a recenter for the month, which is why I'm really happy to have you on, obviously for that, and because I love chatting with you. You're a great guy to chat with.
Right. So yeah, and that's the problem with, like you said, with and I've run into that too with people, is that now they will capture something,
Yes.
but then the next thing happens, so they'll say, "Look, I got it," and like you said, you can share a story. And for years, we didn't have the cell phones. I can't tell you how many times over the years before cell phones that I would go run to grab a camera or something. And by the time you get the camera and you get it going, it's gone. Or like you said, instead of getting what you think, you get like a blur or distortion, but now we can get really good evidence. Then the second piece that comes up is that people then say, well, you just made that, and you're like, no.
Yep.
I'm trying to document. I'm trying to show, and that's why one of the hardest things as humans to do is to live our truth, live our experience, and share it, and not be as concerned about what other people think. Yes. Because I think it's almost part of us, and especially the closer they are. If it's a family member, if it's your partner, if it's your best friend. And you go to share something and they shoot you down.
Yeah.
Or they try to say, well, you made this up, or are you sure you weren't, were you drinking? Were you smoking? Were you, were you asleep? And one of the hardest things to do is kind of ground yourself and understand that everyone's perception is their own.
Yes.
So, recently I did a show with a good friend of mine, Elizabeth, she's a longtime mind, body, spirit person, comes kind of from the pagan Wiccan background herself. And she shared that, it's having that strength to realize that everyone is coming from their own perception, which has nothing to do with you. And being able to own that when somebody challenges your beliefs or challenges what you've seen, it's because from their perception, this is hard to understand. They for some people, I think those of us that are in this field, those of us that work in more of the spiritual way, it's because we've had experiences. It's because we've had exposure, and we want to try to figure it out. We want to try to share it. But part of it is realizing that if other people, for some people, it's just hard to fathom. It's not within their experience. And so rather than say, wow, you've had it, like I've never done bungee jumping. If someone has described to me what bungee jumping was like, they would be describing to me an experience I hadn't had. Doesn't mean that experience doesn't exist.
Yes.
And that's, I try to use examples like that. Not all of us love water skiing, but that doesn't mean water skiing doesn't happen just because you don't do it. And one thing that Elizabeth pointed out is that what we all know is that we can all experience, just like you experienced. You and your wife saw it.
Yes.
Your brother-in-law didn't see it. Now, does that mean you two didn't? No, you did. And there can be multiple explanations as to why you were more, I do think the more we do work in a particular field or we do connection, the more that mental consciousness muscle gets open. So, and then we see things and experience things. And I do think there are other people that it's a challenge for them. They don't want to see it. You know what I mean?
Now, let me ask you this, and I agree with Joe on that one. Bungee jump is a big no-no for me.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
no,
Just
not
like
happening.
skydiving, I was like, no. If I'm jumping out of a plane, that better be on fire. But let me ask you this though, Charles, and I think a lot of us may not think about this whenever people do start criticizing or giving their opinions on it. Do you think that a lot of it comes from the ignorance of the field, like those who had these personal experiences, when they start telling people the ignorance? And what I mean is they don't have the knowledge that we do. They don't have the background, that type of ignorance. They don't understand it.
Right.
Is that what's fueling this tear down process, or the rebuttals? Is that what's fueling this, or do you think it's a belief system?
I think it could be both. I think for some people, anytime something happens that's a challenge to what they've previously believed,
Hmm.
uh, then that's it can really shake them. I've had friends that I've shared things and then they've been really quiet, and I'm like, "What's going on?" They're like, "I don't know how to react to this. I have no point of reference for what you're saying, and it scares me." So for some people, it's that. For some people, it is belief systems. Like I talk on my show a lot. I grew up heavily Christian.
Mm.
Nothing against that. I love Christians. I describe myself now as a Druid Christian Buddhist, a combination of all.
Hmm.
But sometimes that can be challenging, depending on what you grew up believing. There even within the Christian beliefs, there are many different beliefs about death.
Yes.
Some people believe death is a suspended animation for a long period of time until a particular event happens, and then something happens. Other people believe that, okay, yeah, you do go somewhere else, but you have no contact with it. And any contact you have is evil, or you're being tricked.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of people with that will come to me that have had experiences, that have had sometimes incredible experiences that they share with me, but then they'll say, but how do I know I want, like, to put it bluntly, the devil wasn't tricking me, and it's like, well, but you experienced your grandfather. One person was, they experienced their grandfather coming and sitting on their bed and speaking to them, but they were terrified the whole time because they were afraid they were somehow being tricked.
Been
And I
there.
said, well, look at this. Think about this for a moment. If you're spiritual and you're human and something like that happens, do you think that, and speaking from their perception, do you think that your God that would make it so that you as human could be so easily tricked? That doesn't seem like a very good God to me. Like, what I mean? Like, they're
Hmm.
gonna, and did you feel, did you sense, did this person, a lot of times when people have something, an experience with somebody very close to them, like a mother or father or grandfather or child, it's not just the seeing. A lot of times it's the smelling, the feeling that you got when that person was around you, and you know those feelings.
Yes.
So don't allow, sometimes our belief system is challenged. And if it is challenged, it's on purpose. And somebody else mentioned, I saw it popped up there, about maybe the third eye is not developed, or, and that's true. They're not fully open. And I've known people that I've done workshops that are kind of teaching people to become mind, body, spirit, and being very more open.
Hmm.
And then what they struggle with it. And I'll say, and I'll sit him, I had one person that took one workshop 5 times, and he was going to take it a sixth time. I'm like, why are you going to take it again? Like, it's obviously not for you. And he's like, but I see all these other people experiencing and doing these things. And I said, okay, but either what's happening for you that's preventing that, or maybe this isn't for you right now.
Yeah.
What's very interesting is that out of nowhere, given Facebook and all the ways that we can connect with each other, he reached out to me about a year ago, and I hadn't talked to him in like 10 years. And he said, guess what, Charles? Guess what? I can now. And I realized why I couldn't then, and
See, for me, I 100% agree, because I've said this to certain people. Sometimes, just like with faith, what we're doing is almost like they say a test of faith. we all have our own personal journey in this, and that's life. For example, some of us may, end up like, trust me, I'd love to be a professional athlete, but
Right.
is that my path? No.
Right.
I wish it was, but it's not. And we all have our own different journeys, and I feel like it's the same with the paranormal. We all have our own roles to play, and some people would want to be a sensitive, they want to be a medium, they want to be an empath, they want to be all these things, but that's not their path, that's
Right.
not what is their plan. And honestly, it's like you said, it's a test. And it even says, even in scripture, that our faith is tested.
Yes.
And I think being tested isn't so much like challenged. I think test is more along the lines of saying we have to rethink some things. We have to rethink, and we have to reorganize priorities, thought processes, whatever. Um, I don't think it's so much like, here's a challenge, overcome it, cool, you passed. No, it's a matter of, I don't want to say acceptance, but making the most of everything you have, and making sure that you are making a positive impact in not just others' lives, but your own.
Yes.
Yeah. And I've always told people, if you, like, for me, for example, I don't do these shows if I'm not 100%. I promise that to my audience. If I'm not at my 100%, I won't do them,
Yeah.
because I have to take care of myself. I can't take care of my wife. I can't take care of my daughter. I can't do my job if I can't take care of myself.
Right.
And I believe that even in our journey, it's the same way. And like you said, in mind, body, and soul, you have to take care of yourself. And it doesn't matter what's going on. It doesn't matter what's going on in somebody else's life. It doesn't matter what somebody thinks. Like me personally, I know there's probably some people who don't like me. Cool.
Right.
That's them. I'm not going to let them affect what I do, because I enjoy this. This is, for right now, this is my path. This is what whether it's been chosen or whether it's just the path I decided, it's what I'm doing. And I'm not going to let anybody stop me. And I think
Yes.
that, sorry, go ahead.
No, and that's the confidence to have in what you're doing is, and someone just shared, have to be willing to acknowledge the unknown as well. Absolutely. And like you said, there's always, I have friends that are quantum physicists. Now half of what they talk about, they'll share something with me and they're like, what do you think? And I'm like, I think I followed about that much of what you just said, but sounds good.
I understand.
Not my area of study, but it's your area of study. And
It's
part
like,
of
I
it is
understand the word "the." I got that. The.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it.
And it's knowing that that there is an unknown. And the other thing I always tell people on my show too, if you ever come across somebody in any of these types of broadcasts, ways of being, leaders, shaman, and they tell you, I know everything, run for the door. Run for the door. Because none of us knows everything. We know what we've experienced. We know if you work with other people like I do, and I feel blessed because of all the clients and people I work with. Many times I have experience, they share experiences, and I learn from that. I'm like, wow, that's pretty powerful. I've not experienced that way, but it's a knowledge that there is more than we could ever understand as a human being, but we can share the parts that we've experienced with each other, and then our overall knowing grows. And maybe it's somebody that's, is a medium or a psychic. Maybe it's somebody that is a ghost hunter. Maybe it's somebody that's doing studying the UFOs. I've worked with many people over the years that's their area of study. A few years back, there's a group here in our area that is people that have had very in-depth contact and experiences, whether they were in the military and something happened, or they were in their homes and things. And they're a group of people that have experienced things in a spiritual way, in a UFO way. And they meet privately, and they actually send people out to find different facilitators that are open-minded to come in and guest facilitate for the group and share. Like, for instance, when I came in, I shared ways that they could remember more, and I shared ways that they could also kind of relax and get themselves clear of that experience or clear of the post-traumatic stress of some things that happened. And when I got invited to this group, part of your being invited was that you didn't have to believe everything that you were going to be told, but you had to be respectful of it.
Of course.
And what shocked me going into that room was there were high-ranking military people, elected officials, broadcast people from the area that had all experienced these things. And it was really eye-opening for me. There, you know, I have not experienced what they did, but listening to them gave me a greater understanding of what might be happening on the dimensions around us. You know what I mean? And they ended up inviting me back like 3 or 4 times. In part, they were like, we can tell, and here's a key thing, you don't judge us.
Yep.
You don't judge it. You can discern what fits for you or what you understand or what you don't, but you can't. That's where it crosses a line, where you start judging somebody else as being less than, or, you know, crazy, or like you said, you provide great evidence and somebody goes, well, you made the, you know, you did that with CGI. And it's like, well, if I understood CGI, maybe, but I don't.
Right.
So, yeah.
I barely know PowerPoint, but, you know, it's funny. And after this statement, we're going to take a quick commercial break, but it's also going to be a nice segue into what's going to be coming on after the break. My buddy and my brother here, Mr. Fedora, Scott Morton, he was on the Warren Area Society of Paranormal. He commented earlier. Him and his team always say it may not be real to us, but it's real to somebody. Or then I'm paraphrasing what his is, but it's 100% true. And that mindset, honestly, is, to me, imperative in the paranormal field. You have to have that mentality if you're going to be working in our field. Because, again, it's nothing but a good story unless you can validate it. Then it becomes evidence. But you have to have that open mind and understanding that it may not be real to you, but obviously to somebody or to that person, it is.
Yes.
And when we come back, we're going to talk about that, and also how to, and I think, you know, Charles, we talked about this, how to deal with those naysayers. Like, what mentality are we to have when we start getting criticized in a negative way? And we're gonna talk about that when we come back. But we're gonna take a quick commercial break, guys. So don't go anywhere. So if you haven't already, please share this out, like the video, all that great stuff, because honestly, this is important. Mental health is very important in our field, and you don't want to miss what happens next. So we'll be right back after this quick commercial break.
You know how we do. Big up to this crew. From day one till it's done, do or die, me and you. Big up to this crew. Yeah, we like to keep it positive. You know how we do. Big up to this crew. Got props non-stop and mad love for you. Right.
Rising up like the moon, elevating the mood, uplifting attitudes, cause that's what we choose to do. And I don't know about you, but there's enough negativity going around with plenty room to improve. Yes, sometimes we collide with stress and negativity. We always let it slide. It's an elevated vibe, so fly. We touch the sky every time we ride. Big up, big up, big up to this crew. Yeah, we like to keep it positive. You know how we do. Big up, big up, big up to this crew. From day one till it's done, do or die, me and you. Big up, big up, big up to this crew. Yeah, we like to keep it positive. You know how we do. Big up, big up, big up to this crew. Got thoughts non-stop and mad love for you. Now roll back time. Tell me what you find. You're gonna see the same sucker MCs on the sidelines. In the fourth quarter when it's do or die time. That's when this crew is inclined to go prime time. From day one straight till it's done. But you all know full well that we only just begun. Yeah. We stick together, one for all for one. When it gets heavy, no, we don't duck and run. Crazy thinking about the places that we've been. Now I could tell you stories that'll make your head spin. But like I said, straight, thick, or thin, there's so many memories giving me silly grins. So please allow me to introduce to you my one and only homies. Yo, I love this crew. So please allow me to introduce to you my one and only homies. Yo, I love this crew. Big up, big up to this crew. Yeah, we like to keep it positive. You know how we do. Big up, big up, big up to this crew. From day one till it's done.
Welcome back, everybody. And before we get back into the conversation that we were having with Charles, I just want to give a special shout out to all of those listed Paralinks. Obviously, if you guys haven't already, go check them out. Go check out Paralinks 1, 2, 3, Paralinks Plus, which we are on right now, and Paralinks Live. There are a lot of amazing podcasts over there. You can check them out on Paralinks as well on YouTube. Also, I want to thank Brian J. Laverty, our brother, from Parapost Network Central. Again, Parapost Network Central over on Facebook has an absolutely amazing variety of podcasts, and also this one. But I'm joking. I don't know if you catch that, Charles, but I always kind of like mess around and say that mine's not that great. Well, they say you're your own biggest critic, and my critic's anyway. But I want to say again, thank you to Ghost Hunter Advice Tanner for all of his support and everything he does. My P3 family members, love you guys. And if you guys haven't already, head over to globalghosthunt.com to sign up today for next year. In May and October, we are going to be doing a huge event that is going to be changing our paranormal community forever, and it promotes nothing but para-unity. You're going to see some amazing locations, amazing teams in 2 10-day events. That's 20 days, almost a whole freaking month of paranormal investigating at its finest. And it's going to be celebrating locations and teams from all over the world. More information is on globalghosthunt.com. Head over there now, sign up, register. Even if you don't have a team, you want to participate and help out, you can do it right over there as well. And if you don't have a team and you're a location that's interested, come on over. We got a spot for you. And I also want to thank our family over at Maglite for supporting this show and also the P3 program. We love you guys. Thank you so much. If you guys haven't already, go check out Maglite. They have literally some of the most amazing flashlights and apparel. And yours truly, I'm actually waiting till payday. I'm going to be ordering some merch from them. But I've been using Maglite for years. The 16 years I've been in the paranormal, I've been using Maglite, and I will never, ever change that because great product, durable, reliable, and affordable. What more do you want? And we talked about this kind of earlier. Steven and I were kind of messing around on the comments. Stephen Woodard and I were messing around. I wanted to make an official announcement, guys. I said I was going to make this next week, but the ball's rolling on it. I'm super excited. I've already spoken to Steven. I've spoken to Howard. I've spoken to Brian John Laverty and several others. And 2024, you heard me right, 2024, we are going to be combining resources, Paralinks, Parapost, Global Ghost Hunt, and yours truly at the P3 program and Paranormal Consultants, well, now the consultants. We are going to be hosting a huge convention. You heard me right. Fear Fest is going to be combining with Global Ghost Hunt, Parapost Network, and also the P3 program, headlining our P3 family and many, many others, including the one and only Victor Santiago from the Don Vic Show, who will be, listen to this, he will be actually airing live at this convention. He will be hosting his own show, interviewing, chatting with all of us, Now, I don't know, Charles, if you know Victor Santiago from the Don Vic show, but he's not into the field. He's not an investigator. He's an outsider, and he supports the paranormal community. And I am super, super excited for that. And he is going to be hanging out with us, and he's going to be bringing some of his crew. We're bringing the paranormal community, and we're actually going to be having some headliners. We're going to have some pretty big names, um, hopefully guest speaking at this event. One of them is in the room right now. The other one is going to be none other than the paranormal queen herself, Patty Adams from the G team. She is going to be a highlight guest speaker. The other one is this individual, Ken Allen, one of my brothers from the Wizards table. Amazing, amazing individual. And honestly, Charles, I think you and Ken would get along. It's you two are the complete opposites, but you guys would actually get along really, really well. Just the passion, the understanding, and the love for humanity. Love it. I think you guys would
Awesome.
get really
Well,
well.
we'll have to share some of that, like when we're on our, you have my permission to share my contact with any of those people that you think might be good connections, and I on my show too try to have a wide range of conversations with people, and some are close to my perception, and some are very far away, and I like that because we learn more about each other, and we learn more about what's out there by sharing with each other what we experience, what we know, what we've come in contact with.
Well, Charles, and this is why I said I wanted to see your reaction. This is why, like, I spoke a little bit earlier about what I was up to, but I didn't go into full detail because obviously here in the paranormal field, mental health is huge. Supporting
Yes.
everybody is huge. That's why, well, one of the reasons why I'm always doing these lives for people, asking for prayers, positive thoughts, healing thoughts. We have the fundraisers going, like for Scott Wilson, because I saw he was in here. There he is. What's up, my brother? How you doing? There is actually a little fundraiser going right now in right below. The link is down below to help Scott and people he knows. Young lady just apparently, well, not apparently, just got diagnosed with breast cancer. So he's asking for help. So again, guys, if you can, even $5, $5, that's it. Please help. Every little bit helps. And the other one is actually for mental health and suicide awareness. That one is hosted by none other than, you know him, you love him, Howard Petrie from Paralinks. The Jessica Marie Petrie Foundation is actually down below. That link is down as well. Please, guys, help out. As anything can help in this field, and that's what it's about. It's if you have to take $10 that you were going to go out to dinner with and donate it to somebody if you can. Obviously, I don't want you spending $200-$300 or your whole paycheck, but just something little bit goes a long way in this field. But yeah, so I wanted to just take a moment to shout all those people out because they are amazing. They're amazing people, and what we are doing is we are growing our community. Everything is heading back to the community. Nothing is going in pocket, including the new Parabid Studios, the Buy Me a Coffee that we have here for the Para Crew. It's going right back into the field. Nothing is going into pocket. And the same thing with Global Ghost Hunt, right back in the field, guys. And that's one way we can help. It's not just right here on the podcast, it's behind the scenes as well. Ron from RRLC, what is up, my brother? You would love these guys because they are literally a husband and wife and family that investigate the paranormal, and they are an amazing unit. And Squeakers, we need to get them back on. We really do. I can see that, James. James from Hammertown Paranormal. What is up, my brother? How you doing? And I think Ken's excited. Mr. Ken Allen's excited. And Raymond Newsom. He is the other one I was saying earlier who is literally everywhere, Charles. He supports everybody and anybody in this field. He actually just started his team up, Newsom Paranormal. He is doing some amazing things in this field, and he is a great guy. absolutely great guy. And that's what I love is, oh, wait, let me get you over here. And that's what I love is, when you find that core group, you find support no matter what. And that's where you become a family. P3. And it's very important to have that. It's very important for your mental health and for others to have that support system. But like we said, there's always going to be naysayers. So I know we were kind of talking about it, and I swear I'll let you take control. I'm
No,
just
and
not
those are
used to,
good.
not used to it. But I just want to know, because I know there's a lot of people that are going through a lot. So I kind of want to make this a two-part. So how do we handle mentally? How do we handle these naysayers when people come and start attacking you? What mentality should people have? And the flip side of that is, how do we decipher between constructive criticism and actual destructive? And how do we decipher it, and how do we give and receive it? Like, where's that fine line?
Well, in the first part of it, how do you handle when sometimes people don't understand,
Yeah.
or people are challenging, and it really the key to that is understanding that each person is an individual and has their own perception. So if somebody's not understanding, or not, and you spoke to it too, not all of us have the same talents or inspirations in our lives. Years ago, I was with a partner. We're still really good friends, and I was learning about what's called soul to soul communication, EPC, where you could do a guided meditation and you can connect soul to soul with somebody that maybe you're having issues with. As humans, you can't talk, or you're trying to share something. And what I was really trying to share was more part of the mind, body, spirit, and it was always falling flat. And so I thought, okay, I'm just learning about the CPC. I'll do this soul to connection and say, how do I? And I literally, at that time, I was new. I was starting out. How do I make them understand? How do I make them experience this? And so I did. I did this soul to soul connection. And guess what? When I connected soul to soul, that person's soul said, who are you to decide what this person gets to experience? Have your experience, but please don't make your experience theirs. They can have their own experience. And I was like, oh, well, touche. Like, okay, I get it. All right, I can't. And then as humans, we talked, and I said, okay, I understand. I've been trying to force you to come to this or do that or do this. Instead, can I ask, what in these things that I have to present or that I have to offer, what part of any of this interests you? And then they were able to, and they literally said, wow, you've never asked me that. You've always just tried to tell me or say I needed to learn this, that, or the other thing. What I'd like to learn is just how to relax. Is that okay? Absolutely. Let's start there. So part of it is realizing that sometimes, and just like you said, we've all had experiences where we experience something and somebody doesn't. I've had people share experiences where they've been in bed with their husband or wife, and something's woken them up, and they've had this whole experience while their husband or wife just slept right through it all, And again, it's understanding that each person has their walk or their path, and not everyone's path is going to be to investigate the paranormal or experience it in the same way. So part of it is for you as a person that has experienced it to realize and to own that there are people around you that this might be a challenge for. And as much as you'd like for them to understand your experience, maybe they can't, and where they're coming from, and we talked about that before, is either based on their belief, their ignorance, or their fear.
Okay.
I've had more than one person in my life tell me that this really just scares me. Can we stop talking about this because you're really scaring me? Absolutely, because I'm not meaning to scare you. I'm meaning to enlighten you. And if it's not enlightening you, but it's scaring you, I can ask, what's scaring you about it? I can try to be a friend there. But part of it is realizing that when people attack, it's especially when it crosses that line, what we were talking about, when it goes from, well, I'm not sure what I believe or I question, to actually attacking you. And I've had, and when the world is so divided right now, and there's there's so many people that would just as soon put you down as to encourage you in any way. You know what I mean? And we all go through it. We go through it with comments on different things. When I was bringing the show back in 2019 from 2014, 15, 16, I saw how the world had changed. And I had some friends that were like, they knew I was getting excited about it. And they were like, you haven't started yet. And I said, you know what scares me the most is the haters, the people that are going to be so attacking and so judgmental. And then them knowing me said, well, Charles, you've always said, let them be and you be you. You know what I mean? You do what you need to do and be yourself and share who you are and what you're doing. But let them be them. You know what I mean? And the hard part is, but it's important, is to let them be them, let them be who they are, and without influencing you.
So then let me sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, brother.
No, go ahead.
So let me ask you this, and this is something that I've said to people, but again, validation, and I want, constructive criticism. Obviously, I know you'll give that to me. So this be a fair assessment then. I've always said, stress about things you can change. Don't stress about the things you can't.
Right.
People are one of those things you can't change. You can't change people. And what I mean is you can change minds. You can make an unbeliever a believer through personal experience, but you can't change belief systems. You can't change their mentality. You can't change who they are just by words alone. So for me, it's like, I try not to stress about things I can't change. Other people, I've said this before. I don't care if somebody comes on and gives me a negative comment. They'll be, the comment will be deleted. They're allowed to have their own opinions.
Yeah.
But I know there's people here who are looking for positivity. And, I don't care if there's one person. I don't care if there's 50 million. As long as we're helping one person, the show will continue. But I try not to think about what other people say about me, because I know in this field, especially what we do, we put ourselves out there on camera, on audio, we're going to get those. You're going to get those people who are just negative for whatever reason they're negative. We're going to get them. And that's something that we mentally have to, and let's be honest, we physically have to prepare ourselves for that negativity. We have to be aware of we don't have to, we have to be aware of it. We have to prepare ourselves for it, and we have to be willing to accept it. Which actually, like I said, brings me to this next one. What is the difference? Like, where is that line that we need to be aware of, or like little key things to look for between constructive and destructive criticism?
Right. And I want to, when you're having a conversation, we talked earlier too about, before the show, about, what if you get in a conversation, when you're someone you really care about, and they're having just a really hard time, you're having a hard time between the two of you, and something's happened and they perceive that you said something that's hurt them, or they've said something that's hurt you, and how do you come back to that?
Yes.
And how do you work through it? And part of it is, you can discern with people, with someone that working with people that have experienced things. A lot of times when people have experienced things, we do go through a process of having them have a mental evaluation, having them have a physical evaluation. And then when those evaluations come out good, they know that now they've experienced something, and it's not your mind and it's not your body. But when we're talking to other people, it's important to own that you're coming from your perception. So, and you hear it all the time in psychology, but it's a true thing, having I statements. I feel this way when you share that, or this challenges me in this way. That's owning your perception. That's owning your feelings. Now, when I say, well, Matt, when you share about seeing that Confederate soldier, and I'm not saying this for me, but just as an example.
Of course.
I'm not sure I believe in ghosts. So I'm not sure how to take what you're sharing with me. Okay, that's owning what I'm doing. If I turn it around and say, Matt, you're obviously crazy. There's something wrong with you. How did you possibly? So one of the ways you know when you're crossing a line, and a friend of mine used to say that all the time, is when it starts to go like this. When I start to go, you are this, 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 and this. Okay, I've crossed a line because you aren't those things. That's my perception in the moment, or my anger, or my emotion wanting to say, you are these things. I don't believe in ghosts. So if you saw a ghost, you must be crazy. You must have been tired. You must have been drinking too much. You must have been this. You must have been that. And so as individuals, when we find ourselves wanting to go, you, now we're crossing a line, because now we're going beyond sharing what our experience is, what our feelings are in the moment. And instead we're saying, you are I am now determining who you are, what your credibility are, what your intention is, instead of owning what's my perception.
So actually, so would it be fair to say, and I'm not saying what Joe's saying here is incorrect, but can we tweak this instead of no I statements, no you statements when we're
Yes.
talking about people? It's no you statements. But Joe's right. There, I statements, can be hurtful as well. Now,
Well, the key to that is, because I work with couples a lot too, and they'll sometimes poke each other with the I statements. And so the I statements are about, I feel this way when you say this. I feel this way when this particular thing happens. So I'm owning my feelings, my perception. When I turn that into your intentions or your experience, then I'm changing it. So I statements are okay, but the thing is, people can use them in a hurtful way, because they can be tricky with it. I feel this way when you walk in the room because you're this, this, and this. No, that's not an I statement. That's a judgment. And the difference between discernment and judgment, I can discern how I feel about something. I can discern that somebody is a positive in my life or a negative in my life. I can't judge what is motivating them.
well, and here's another question then for you. And I just like with finding the truth, we all know that there's three sides to finding the truth. There's side A, side B, and then the truth.
Right.
You always have to take everything into perspective. Now, talking about these statements, it's a conversation, folks. It's a two-way street. It's not just one-sided.
No.
If you want to voice your opinion to somebody, you have to be ready, and I'm saying have to. You have to be ready to receive somebody else's input. Sometimes what I like to do is I like to think outside the box in a third-party situation. When I have my own, and I'm not saying what I do is correct. This is what just works for me.
Right.
What I do is if I have an issue, I take a step back calmly, and I think, what if somebody like Charles, Lurker, Jonathan, Mackenzie, whoever, Squeakers, anybody comes to me with an issue, the same issue. What do I tell them? Because that's part of practicing what you preach. You
Right.
have to be able to take yourself out and think of it as a third party. So you're thinking of yourself in the third party perspective. How would you tell somebody else, or what advice would you give somebody else? Like, that's where that whole stress about things you can change, don't stress about things you can't. That's where that practice started with me. Was if somebody came to me with that problem, how would I go about helping them? What would I say to them? Because if I'm not willing to say it to my friends or my family, then I should be able to do it myself.
Right.
Because it's kind of like a lead by example. But Squeakers isn't paying attention to her chat. But I want to also hit on something else you said, brother. It's context. Context is huge. You could sit here, or somebody in the chat can say, I love this show. I can take that as, hey, thanks. They really like this show. I appreciate that. Or if I'm in a bad mood, if somebody says, I love this show, I can be like, okay, that's sarcasm.
Right.
It's better if you see something. If you see something in chat, if you see something through a text message that doesn't seem to sit right. Oh, here you go. Minus all the hearts. Thanks, Liz. Minus the wonderful hearts. I know Liz. I know how she means this. But if somebody random just posted that, I could take that as sarcasm. Really think about it. That could be
Yeah.
have a wonderful show or thank you for the wonderful show. Somebody could take that as sarcasm. If something is said or messaged and it just doesn't seem right to you, the best thing, at least in my opinion, and Charles, please correct me if I'm wrong, is to get in contact.
Yes.
Call verbally, get on FaceTime, get on a video conference, actually call them physically on the phone.
Yes.
Here.
Text and emails are the most misunderstood. And I've worked with families and friends, and I think I shared myself that I've had times where I've reached out to someone and I've said, "Hey, is everything okay? How you doing? How you feeling today?" "I'm okay." And I've said, "You're okay? Okay? Like, does that mean you're not okay? Or does that mean you are okay?" And so then, yeah, you have to reach out and say, okay, and I'll be honest, in my case, a few times where that's happened, and I've reached out to a friend and said, you just said okay. Are you really okay? And they're like, yeah, I said I'm okay. And I'm like, well, I didn't know if you were saying you were okay or you were okay. Like, I'm okay. And so context is super important. And I always tell people, and I was taught years ago too, when you're working with situations that are important to you and matter to you, face to face or verbally, communicating is going to give you, because then if we're talking, you say, "How are you doing, Charles?" And I'm like, "I'm okay." You're like, "Okay, he's okay." He's saying that. Or if I'm like, "Ugh, I'm all right, I'm okay," then you're like, "Hey, buddy, you're not okay." So reading it gives us no context.
So let me help out with this one, and I think a lot of us will understand. This will put into perspective. And I think a lot of us who are in a relationship will be able to relate to this. So you're talking about the whole "I'm fine" scenario, where if you text your significant other and they say "I'm fine," that could either be, "Yeah, I'm fine, I'm good,"
Yeah.
or it's "I'm fine," as in you screwed up, you're about to get your butt whooped.
Yeah.
It's best because I know, like, I pick on Mackenzie a lot, but I love her to death, and she knows this, and this is the type of relationship her and I have. I can literally hear what she's saying through text message. And it's the times where, and I think some of us can pick up on that with our significant others, where you can actually ask a question. And even if she says, like in this sense, "I'm fine," depending on her context before,
Yes.
will dictate what that's going to be. And that, folks, is paying attention to the whole scenario.
Yes.
If I just text her out of the blue, "How's your day?" and she just says, "Okay," need a little more context, and I'll ask her follow-up questions. And here's the thing, investigating isn't just for the paranormal. We are investigators. And Charles is an investigator as well. He just investigates a little differently than we do. He investigates the mind, body, and soul. We investigate the afterlife. Now, being an investigator, you have to do your due diligence. If something comes up in your life, don't just settle for what's in front of you. Dig for more until you get something concrete. In this case, if I text Mackenzie, "Hey, how's your day going?" She just says, "It's okay." Nothing else before, just "It's okay." Well, what's going on? Something blanket, a blanket statement, so that way I can kind of judge on what's going on. "Oh, I'm just having a rough day." Boom. Okay, so that "okay," it's a negative.
Right.
Okay, cool. Well, call me when you can. I'd love to hear about it.
Right.
Or, "Oh, no, it's great. Everything's going great. Everything's fine. It's a good day. Nothing. Everything's fine." Cool. You get that validation. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you'll agree with me. But that is the key component to any relationship and watching out for everybody's mental health. That is part of finding out where people really sit and to get rid of that context issue. Because I
Yes.
think a lot of drama, a lot of stress, a lot of things happen out of context.
Yes.
And I
And
think
and if
go
you
ahead.
and if you care about somebody, you want to hear them.
Mm,
Most things, and like we were talking about in the beginning, when you've experienced something paranormal, when you know, or whether it's something in your life that you're struggling with, or something that's just beyond your scope, and you want 99% of people just want to be heard.
yes.
They just want someone to listen for a few moments and understand. And by having that conversation, if it's someone you care about, not, you know, two separate things here, people you care about in your life, as opposed to strangers who are attacking you in different ways. You know what I mean? There's a difference.
Hmm.
But if it's someone you care about and someone that you, then yes, you want to, the best thing you can do is do what we call compassionate listening.
Mhm.
Like you said, if I'm going to tell you that, hey, I feel this way, Matt, when this happens or that happens, and I'm just not sure about it. I think you like me, but I'm not sure because of this. Now I have to stop, and I have to listen to what you, because 99% of people are going to, the next statement's going to be, oh my gosh, Charles, I didn't mean for you to feel that way. I had this and this and this going on, and it had nothing to do with you. And I'm sorry if I came across this way, or, you know, and so this conversation happens. But if the minute you start to talk, I start to think, but Matt, blah, 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 I'm
Mhm.
not compassionately listening. I'm not
Nope.
calming down for a minute and hearing you, and we're having that exchange. Now, the difference when it's somebody that some stranger like putting a bad comment, or um, you know, attacking your credibility, attacking your way of spiritual being, but they're you don't know them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're just out there. Then the important thing is to understand that very statement. They don't know me. They don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what's going on for them. I honestly have had times when people have said very negative things or had very negative reactions, and my thought will be, gosh, love and light to them, whatever's going on in their life, because wow, they don't even know me or what I'm trying to do, but they're taking the moment to come on and be all negative and mean. Something's going on there in their life that I can't understand. And you
Mhm.
know, a good example. I mean, it's a hard one, and she might be listening tonight, and she won't mind me sharing it. But you know, I'll be careful about how I share this. Someone I know had their child get hit by a car.
Mm.
It was all, you know, when this happened, when this accident took place, then the child was killed. When this happened, there were people that had comments of support and love, and oh my gosh, I can't imagine.
Yeah.
And then there were people not knowing anything about the circumstance that started saying, you're a bad mother. What did you do? What kind of mother lets their kid get hit by? Okay, you don't know what happened. You have zero idea of what took place. So for you to jump to the conclusion that this person was a bad parent or a bad person because an accident happened, wow, what is in your head that makes you think when you read that someone has just lost their child that the best thing you can say is, wow, you're obviously a horrible person. Wow, that speaks volumes about that person that made that comment, and nothing about the mother that went through that.
So
You know
do you
what I
think a
mean?
lot of that for that individual, like let's just say like in that statement, somebody goes and attacks the mother. Do you think, and just your opinion, that these people have other issues? They have their own personal things that are going on, and they're attacking somebody else as a way to vent and kind of disattach themselves from their own
Yes.
issues.
Yes.
So,
It's about being positive or negative. And when we get in a negative space, we know it. We're all human. We've gotten negative. We said negative things to our friends. I had a moment with a coworker or somebody, you know, but the difference is then we can own it and say, wow, I'm going through this. What I've seen, and we've had conversations about it recently with people that are in all parts of the field of mental health about, wow, there is something different right now. Whereas before, now there are people living in this negative flow that they're feeding off the negativity and the hate. You know, I had a few months back where there was a discussion going on in some group, and some people were getting negative, and I kind of started trying to help. And then a friend of mine actually texted me and said, Charles, stop, get out. You know better. This person obviously is not listening to any sort of positive or any sort of, reflection. They're just there to be negative and mean, and you're just, it's hurting you, but it's not hurting them. That's the other thing about these judgments and things that come at us, is when we decide to take it on, and we've all done it. We've all had someone that makes a comment or someone that acts a certain way, and then it eats at our mind. It eats at our, but then they are affecting us, but not because of them, but because we've allowed it. And in a simple example I use, and it's super simple, but it works, is you're driving down the road and someone pulls out in front of you and cuts you off. And you're just like, almost an accident, but it's not, and you make it. Now I've seen people that happens to them, and all day long they're talking about it. At the end of the week, they're still talking about it. They're still saying, on Monday, you'll never believe what happened. Oh my God, it's affected my whole week. This person cut me off, and it's humans. Guilty. It's easy to do. But then when you, for me at least, when I finally stop myself, I go, wait a minute, that person cut me off hours ago, days ago. Why is it still affecting me? I'm the one that's letting it do that.
I'm so guilty of that. I'm still upset at some of those Virginia drivers. Oh, and God bless you if you're from Virginia, but folks, it's not freaking bumper cars. I swear to you, Charles, I've seen 17 accidents just going to and from, not there. There is a whole nother story. There was more, but to and from, 17 different accidents, all in Virginia. I was like, what do you people do? Right. Like, how do you afford these nice cars? Insurance claims? But anyway, we're gonna end the show here with this last question from Squeakers, and it's a really good one because I think it can help a lot of people. Because a lot of people suffer with this, and that's, how do you calm an overthinker?
And we can all be that, right?
Oh yeah.
Especially when there's somebody that, I've had it for myself, someone that's really close to you, whether it's a friend or family member, and you just keep rethinking it before you can have a conversation. Sometimes, you think, is it this? Is it this? Is it this? Is it that? Did I do that? Was it that thing? I did that about a year ago with a friend. I somehow got blocked on Facebook. And I thought, what's going on? This person's been a longtime friend. So I literally made one of the worst phone calls I've ever made in my life. And on the voicemail was like, is it because I did this? Is it because I did that? Is it because you came to this and that person was there? Because I didn't invite them. They just came on their own. And I know, was it this, is it that? And then I sent an email, and then the person who was busy finally got back to me and said, Charles, I don't know how that happened. It was a mistake. And I'm like, oh, wow. And for like a day, I've been all concerned about what I might have done when it was you didn't even realize it happened. You know what I mean? Like, so really, and someone mentioned it earlier, and that's part of what I do too, is having the meditation, taking that quiet moment. The reason I call what I do relax, let go, and be is because it's important to take those moments and relax yourself. And that relax means relax your mind and body. And for each person, that's different. I love meditation as a way of doing it. Walking out and taking a walk, taking a drive. My partner now will sometimes say, I just need to take a drive for a little bit. And I know for him, that means he needs to go take a drive, be in his own thoughts. And I can honor that, So part of it is find that way to relax your mind and body. Then the letting go. And it's so easy to say we've let go, but we know in our hearts and minds if we let go or not. And that is literally getting to that place where you're relaxed enough and you think about it and you physically let it go. Whether that's you seeing yourself letting it go, whether you're one of those people that writes things down and then you burn it, so now it's let go. Whether you go out like I do sometimes, I'll go out to my garage when I know I'm in a grumpy mood and I'll get all my grumpies out. I'll say all the ridiculous things. And then usually about halfway through, I'll start laughing because I realize how ridiculous I'm being and how happy that I'm doing this myself instead of saying it to anyone.
And I'm glad you said that too, brother, because here's the thing. Meditation isn't just what you see or you think about, the stereotypical, crossed legs, hands like this, going on. No, it's not just that. Meditation is a personal journey. It's a personal effect. Nobody can teach that. Go and do something or somewhere quiet where you can just be you. Sit, relax, and like it says, relax and let go, or relax and let be. Only this time it's with you.
Yeah.
For me, it's fishing. It's outdoors, hunting,
Right.
fishing, driving, and honestly, doing these. These podcasts for me is my meditation. I personally have had a very rough weekend, really rough weekend, and this week hasn't been so hot. But I do these videos because they motivate me, because I actually sit back and think, is it worth really being that upset about? Me personally, I feel like if I'm on my A game and by doing these shows, I may be able to help one person. And if I can help that one person out to have a better day, then excuse the language, then damn it, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
The same way at my job. I work security in an emergency room. Who honestly can say they want to be in an emergency room? I don't know one person.
Right.
And I've told my crew, my guards, this: if we can make their day just a little bit better, just a little bit, through compassion, through understanding, through humor, or just being there to let them vent, then it's making their day better. And we are doing our jobs not as security, but as humans. We are making everybody and the world a better place. You do not know the joy you bring people by just a little humor or just a little compassion.
Yes.
And working with them. They may have had the absolute worst day, but they will remember you by just a little compassion. And do you know, and everybody else, and I said this before, if everybody in this field is tired of the drama, it starts with you. And it's not just saying, okay, well, I'm just going to ignore everybody. No, it's being that outcast, being that different one, or being paranormal.
Right.
Don't be normal. Be paranormal. Be different. Be you. And part of that is actually being compassionate. Be understanding. Be supportive. Perry unit. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and by being, that's part of my theme too, is be all of who you are. If you want people to understand, if you want people to come to where you are, be you, they will. And it too. Throughout my life, there's been people that at one point were like, Charles, I'm not so sure that you aren't in the crazy zone of insanity over here. And then something will happen, and guess who they call? And so, and I've had more people say that I might not agree with everything. My belief system might not be the same as yours, but by being you and living your experience, you have allowed me to do the same.
Absolutely.
And and like what you're doing, it's such a perfect example. You're in an emergency room. No one wants to be there.
Nope.
No one says, you know what? I don't have anything else to do today. Maybe I'll fall down the stairs and end up in the emergency room. That sounds like something. So,
yeah, why not?
And so too that there might be people that are acting out in pain or acting out because of concern for a loved one, and they may say things and do things, but you couldn't do your job if every time someone said those things, you took it personally. You have to realize, wow, this person's loved one's going through this. This person's leg is dangling, about to
I've seen
fall
it.
off.
I've seen it.
And so, what we have to remember when we're not in the emergency room is that everyone has something going on for them. And as much as because we want to think it's all about us, it's very rarely about us. It very rarely has anything to do. You said it earlier, like if someone's making negative comments, is it because they really feel that negative, or what's happening for them? So when you can have that perception of life, that I'm living my life and so is others. So if someone is being horrible, it's because of what's happening for them. And so if you can give them some compassion, if you can give them a moment, you can,
And you know what? I agree with what Christy says. Christy is the one half Paradigm Investigations, another amazing family-oriented team up in Canada, actually. Her and Doug do some really amazing work, especially in mental health. And actually, Christy, to answer your previous question, that's what this one's about, is mental health and basically criticism and how to handle different things. And please watch the replay. Because it is very important, obviously, in our community. But I agree. If you get off your routine, I know I'm the same way. If I'm off my routine, I feel like my whole day's shot.
all right.
But I've actually explained this to people in the emergency room. A lot of people are under the misconception that you're first come, first serve there. No, the emergency room, and think about this as life too. It's worst first.
Yeah.
There are some people, when you go to an emergency room and it's packed, or even if there's nobody there, but you see a lot of ambulances, think about it this way. There are some people who are not going home.
Yeah.
There are some family members that are going to be -1 or 2 or 3 or 7. Your situation's not the worst. I've had a woman complain about a headache. She was there for a headache. And she was saying, I've been here 3 hours. I've been here 3 hours. She got to the point of being absolutely belligerent to the nursing staff. Well, short version, I'm not actually hired by the hospital. We are an outside contractor. The hospital staff can't say anything to her. I can.
Right.
So I went over, sat next to her, and I said, excuse me, ma'am. She's like, what do you want? I said, just bear with me one moment. I said, I just want to talk to you. I said, I hear you complaining that you've been here 3 hours. She goes, well, yeah, they're slow. They're really slow. They don't know their job. I said, did you hear the announcements about traumas? Did you hear and see all those ambulances come in and all those people that came in? Well, yeah, but what does that have to do with me? So those people in the ambulances needed beds. So guess where they're going?
Right.
I said, what you didn't know is there was a really bad car accident. I said, there's a family over here. I said, do you see the gentleman with the 2 kids? Well, yeah. They may be motherless within an hour.
Right.
She's probably not going home tonight. And I said, they're not from around here. They're from New York. They were on their way home from vacation.
Right.
I said, people come here for legit emergencies, not for something that can be taken care of from over the counter. I said, it's not first come, first serve.
No.
I said, you have to think about other people when you're here. And it's like that in life. And it's good to take that outside perspective. But we've been on here for an hour and a half, Charles, and I have a gut feeling we could probably go for another hour and a half. But luckily, we do this every month. We have Charles come on and just kind of do a reset, and just to kind of put some things into perspective and help people out. So if you're just coming in, like Spuzzle, this is actually the end of the show, and people may think, yep, they do. They do. They really do. And Joe, you're absolutely right. There are many books, and there's a lot of great YouTube videos as well.
And you can go to Relax, Let Go, and Be with Charles.
Yeah, ahead of me.
and
We don't
have
even
some
have a script.
meditation.
We don't even have a script, and Charles is ahead of me. And actually, the one and only Patty Adams actually has her own meditation as
Yes.
well, which that is phenomenal. But again, folks, please, if you were just joining us, go back and watch the replay. Please share this out, because the number one thing, if you didn't listen to anything that Charles or I have said this evening, I want you to listen to this. And this is probably one of the most important things. You are not alone. There are people who care. There are people who just love. That is what they are here to do. Love. One sitting next to me. Well, kind of next to me. Others are in the chat. Christy from Paratime. Same way. They're very big advocates on mental health. And yours truly. There is never a time where my phone is off for that reason. There is always somebody there. And I think I still have it. If I can't find it within the next 10 seconds, then I'll try to put it in the comments below. Oh, here it is. So this is the website that I want everyone to write down towards the end of the show. But seriously, guys, please, 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 please understand this. You are not alone, and you will never be judged. And if you know somebody, if you see some things and you want to help them, the best thing to do is to reach out. If somebody is not themselves, if something seems off, it probably is.
Yeah.
And just reach out. And, it's not inconveniencing anybody. It's good just to check. So anyway, Charles, an amazing show as always, brother. It's always a pleasure. And I don't know about the audience, but I know me, I personally love our chats because I learn something too. Every time we talk, I learn something new. I get some advice. It's like therapy for me. And I just want to say how much of an honor and a blessing it is to have you in our lives and have the opportunity to actually sit and chat with you and let go.
Well, it's an honor to be here on this platform with you and share with all sorts of other people, and especially those also in the paranormal spiritual community. We need each other.
Yes.
We need each other. And lots of love to everybody out there.
Well, Charles, if you don't mind, hang out. I'll back for 1 second. I wanted to show you that stuff we were talking about earlier with StreamYard, so I'll show you that real fast.
Okay.
But until next time, Charles, much love to you, my brother, and we'll see you on the next one. That is awesome, guys. That is so refreshing. I absolutely love having him on and knowing that somebody that compassionate is is available to all of us. And really, we need to be like that with ourselves. And the P3 program, we're the same way. There are avenues to take. And the most important thing, guys, is like we said, you're not alone. If you need advice, you need someone to listen to, you need to vent, you can call and yell at me all you want. I don't care. I've had it happen. But I've said this before, para-unity is not a thing. It is a way of life. It is a practice. And it's being open and receptive to everything we've spoken about tonight and then some. So if you truly believe in para-unity, if you believe in a better world, if you believe in a better environment for all of us, might want to take some time to take a step back and make sure you're in the right mindset. Because it's not only good for others, but it's good for yourself too. You'll feel better. You'll be doing the right things, and you'll notice life gets just a little bit easier. So, but anyway, that's going to do it for tonight. So don't forget to catch us for the Paracrew podcast, Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time, for the one and only Forget Me Not Paranormal. I'm so excited to chat with them again. It's been a real hot minute. I am really excited to speak with them. And of course, join us tomorrow night on Paralinks for the Petri dish. Can't wait to chat. And I know there's going to be a co-host that we haven't seen in a really long time. My wife, the Wicked Consultant, will be joining me and helping co-host with Howard and the lovely Jackie from the Petri dish and from Paralinks. So don't forget, 9 p.m. Eastern time for that. And until then, y'all have yourselves a great rest of your night. Have fun, stay safe, and as always, guys, happy hauntings.